Hello, my loves. This is Heidi Raquel with your weekly oracle reading for January 11 to 17. Let's all take a deep breath together, shall we? Okay, just close your eyes for a second, bringing your attention to your breath. Inhaling through the nose, all the way down to the belly, and exhaling out the mouth. 2 more of those. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And already, I remember I didn't put my phone on airplane mode, so let me do that. This is how it is. It's moving so fast. Everything is moving so fast. The ocean wave that I've been talking about for the last couple of months, the rise, the visioning, the seeing what's coming, where you're going, and then the fall and losing it, either emotionally or losing the vision. This cycle is happening so fast now that instead of it being like even week to week, it's like in the same day you will visit all aspects of that spectrum. Seeing your vision, having it figured out, kind of, getting it, and then losing it again. And when I say losing it, I also mean emotionally losing it. If you saw, or if you didn't see, you can go back and look in my feed, but the 2 cards that I got for the year in my annual spread were the Shadow and Justice. And already I am seeing the edges, and I know that it's going to get deeper. I'm seeing the edges of my own shadow. And there's a way of, envisioning our own ego and seeing it differently than we thought before. And I'm talking about places where you didn't think it was shaky at all. And, kind of getting these glimpses and going, oh yeah, okay, that's another layer of work that I need to do. That's another level of intimacy that I need and want to dive into, right? So that's just a bit. I talked about the doTERRA oil for the month being wild orange. I mean, be huffing on that thing like nothing else is all I can say. And the other one that's coming up today, this morning, and just the concept of breath, which is why I stopped here at the beginning to kind of tune into that, because I'm noticing places where I'm holding my breath and noticing that I want like a really big inhale. So it's another one of the oils in my order that has yet to come, but there is an oil called Breathe. And AirX would help also. But just to get us into that breath, like I said to a friend this morning, like if ever there was a time where our meditation was being called on, it is right now. And if you have had a meditation practice in the past, or you currently do or have for years, the wisdom of that practice is coming to fruition right now. Because everything in the outside world, and maybe even inside, is like, Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree and Mara coming around with all of these distractions. It's like the core of what we are working on and focusing on and honing this year is being led and guided by our own internal intuition. What is here? Go here, yes, like always checking with your guides, always checking with your internal system in whatever way that you do that, to sense like, is it time now? I talked about this in the January message, that I thought certainly it would be time to do a vision board workshop again. Certainly it would be time to do another collage class. And I heard a hard no on both of them. Like, that is not what we're doing this month. We are holding this month. We are holding the container for witnessing, observing, watching ourselves, others, patterns, even all the political nonsense that's going on in the US. And, it's beyond nonsense at this point. But it's like, it's calling us, it's almost like a drama theater that isn't real in some ways. It's like a stage that we're watching, and it's just one of many distractions that's trying to call us away from our center. And so be very mindful right now of where your attention is going. And, every time, just like in meditation, every time you see it veering off, there's no shame, there's no blame, there's nothing to do. It's just to come back. You notice and you come back. And, I just feel like we're being pushed on hardcore with that. And let's see, the energy of repurposing things that you already have. I've been talking about this for a couple months. I know I've mentioned it a few times, but it's showing up again. There's like this beautiful way of, nothing in your possessions, nothing in, your life essentially has to change. But there's a way of being aware of the spark, the magic in everything that you already have. And if you just rearranged it, it changes the entire dynamic. I talked about, in the January message, I talked about last year being a 4, this year being a 5, and 4 being the 4 legs on the table, that there's a steady table now. And 5 being what you're going to create on the table, and there being this collaboration across the table, and what are you going to create at the table. And completely on accident, I bought a desk and put it together. And for the first time in 3 years of working for myself, I have a physical desk to work at. Like, it's kind of wild to think now that I have been working at my dining table for 3 years. And now that I've created the space, it's shifting everything else in the room, and it's calling me towards what actually wants to be created there, and how do you actually want to use your room. And that metaphor goes for our internal physical body as well. How do we want to actually show up in the world? How do we want to move? Who do we want to move with? I'm going through, a real purging of even people in my life. There's like this complete call to come back home. And it's like my husband, my daughter, and a couple other people. And there's this way of, anything and anyone and anywhere you're spending your energy, if there isn't substance there, then there isn't time there. Like, I don't have any time for any leaning in any direction that doesn't have substance. And, January is part of that initial leaning, right? So the table has been set up now, the foundation for where and how, and the fact that we even can create something is here now. But there's this energy of like, I'm sitting at a table here now. So it's like leaning forward and going, okay, is it really steady? Are you sure? Because I don't know if I trust that after this last year. Because things are falling apart, but they're simultaneously being put together in a new and better way, with more health and, holistic body awareness, the whole thing, the mind, body, spirit. It's like, if it isn't in congruence, if it doesn't have substance underneath it, it doesn't have anything to stand on. It can't live, it can't survive in this new way of being. Let's see if I missed anything. The other piece is, I kind of touched on it, but it's going at our own pace. It's especially if you're an entrepreneur, but even if you're not, whatever you're doing, building, creating in your life and your world and the connections that you're making, it's like we have to first touch in with ourselves and say, is the timing really right? It's that ocean wave. It's Mama Earth teaching us to move in a right relationship with her. And it's like we're having this complete upgrade. If you're already have been, walking the spiritual path, working with your intuition, working on honing that, growing it and everything, then, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, then, you need to start looking into it, because everything is calling us to check here in the center first. Is it right timing? Is it right thing? Is it right person? Is it right place? And if any one of those pieces is off, then you want to listen for what is the right thing. Is there a change? Is there a direction? Is it 3 of the pieces are right, but the 4th piece isn't right? And how can you adjust it? And how can you move it to repurpose it? And, kind of get that going. And, Yeah, one of the pieces I highly suggest you do, if you're not familiar with channel writing at all, I do that for other people. It's called a spirit reading, and you can find it in my bio or on my website. But I highly suggest that people start doing that. In fact, I might do a workshop just on that because it is so powerful, to have that sense of being, having this connection with your guides and having someone to talk with, because we are never alone. Like all it takes is a question. All you have to do is ask. And then I will just remind people that we are in the energy this month of the Destroyer again. And of course, I knew it was a familiar card because we've gotten it quite a bit. But I was reminded after I did the recording for January, we got that card in October and November. And apparently, these are the two cards that we're going to get this week. I mean, I love it. Two cards just flipped out on their own. And one alone was fine. But so we have the Destroyer energy again. So we got a break of it in December, and then it's back here. And it's kind of like the message that I'm getting is anything that didn't get totally broken down last year and swept out. It's like, the death rattle. It's like oftentimes in intuitive healing sessions, I will do drumming or rattling at the end of a session to call all of the loose parts that want to move on, that have been loosened up from the session. I will drum at the end as like a final call to say, okay, anybody else that's left, that's loose, it's like dusting. And, it's time to send it out your feet and send it back to Mother Earth and be done with that piece too. So it's like we have that energy in January of really going, okay, whatever we didn't get clear about, we are going to get clear about it now. Okay, so we have two cards, the Vessel, which is absolutely perfect. And she's sitting, is it an orange rind? No, but it is an orange bowl that she's standing in. And there's this, sexuality, sensuality with the naked body. And we absolutely have that. I mean, it's absurd here. Something with my phone just went weird. Because this is what, and I'll talk about it. I do want to do a separate video about doTERRA, but my experience with that just so far has been so wild because it's calling me just using the oils myself. And I didn't even buy them. I didn't even lean into partnering with doTERRA for myself. I was doing it for my clients, but I'm having such an internal shift on my own that it's calling me to complete body awareness. How am I treating my vessel? This vessel is the thing that allows our spirits to be here on this earth. So we cannot negate how important healing and taking care of that vessel is. And the second card that we got is EROS. Sexuality, sensuality, all of that. So I'll read both of them, and I can see I'm probably going to go over 15 minutes. So this may end up on YouTube. All right, let's see. The Vessel. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. It's like the breathing. I'm totally being drawn to the breath this week and right now. If I pulled these before, it would be easier to grab the page. Okay, the vessel, the body, the container, the cup. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire. Our bodies hold organs. Our homes hold families. Through the simple fact of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect the eggs. Savings account protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it's time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full? Or perhaps there is no vessel at all and the contents spill in every direction. It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. I mean, seriously, it couldn't be better for what we're all going through right now. When light, stable, strong, graceful. When dark, trapped, being in a bubble. To go deeper, loving, cut by the Rolling Stones. The physical body is the most sacred vessel of all. It is the one in which you reside from your first breath to your last. It may need your attention. The mentor and the healer must pay particular attention to this archetypal form. Healing cannot be sustained without a strong container. I mean, seriously, an eros. Love as desire, eroticism, sensuality. Though eros can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Eros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being, nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive we are separate from. Eros allows us to momentarily unite. Our heart embraces otherness, and in doing so, we further understand our own. Our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. You may find yourself swirling in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with a curious and honest heart, and remember, though the way is circuitous, you are always being led towards its center. When light, passion, playfulness, sexual health. When dark, madness, projection, obsession. To go deeper, Love Sonnet number, I think that's 11 by Pablo Neruda, and Basket of Figs by Ellen Bass, both beautiful poems. Plato reminds us that eros can be experienced as platonic love. It is activated when we witness beauty and truth in the world, when our barriers soften. The Hindu goddess Lalita, she who plays, can help activate eros energy. She is also known as Kameshvari, Empress of Desire. So I'm really glad, and I'm just going to let the video go over. I'm really glad that these two came up because it's bringing something else up that I have forgotten to mention. I've touched on it, but that piece of, being at the table, working, collaborating. So the energy that I'm seeing that we're all being guided to is the reunification of the masculine feminine energy. That can come in the form of male female energy coming together. It can come in the form of collaboration, even platonic love. Doesn't matter. Same sex relationship doesn't matter at all. This can happen with friendship, anything. And it's like we're being guided to that, but the stability has not been there underneath. We've been too focused on the separation, and we're moving towards unity consciousness. And now that we have that with the four legs of the table and the stability, we're being called to notice. It's kind of like, if you've been in your trauma, and you're operating and activating, from your trauma all the time, it's hard to rest. It's hard to let your fight or flight rest. It's hard to create. It's hard to love. It's hard to be in your passion because you're always in that fight or flight. You're always in the, that I was going to say parasympathetic nervous system, but that's the one you're not in. It's the sympathetic nervous system that's always firing, right? And so this year, although it's totally crazy outside, and it might even be crazy inside, this thing that we're being called to is coming to the center and doing this in right relationship with the earth and in divine timing. So the visual that I keep getting for myself is, it's like I'm building a mandala, and my home is in the center of that mandala, and I have several arms, several branches of things that I'm creating in my business and in the world and in my family and all of it. I have a wheel that I'm working on for my business, but you can do it for family and everything too. And it's like we're being called to step out into one of those arms. It's like a light gets activated and we go, okay, we're supposed to go here. And so we move out and we do that thing, but we don't do it to completion. We just do one little piece of it. And then we come back to the center, and then another arm gets lit up. And then we go out to that one and we check that. And then we go out to another one, but we're always coming back home. We're always coming back to be recentered, to sit in meditation, to be in silence, to listen to our guides, to listen to the wisdom that's coming through, and only acting when it's time to act. If the energy isn't underneath there to support it, it is not time. So maybe something else, is being activated and is time, or maybe it's just time to sit and listen and not act. And that is the rebalancing of the masculine feminine. The feminine is the container that holds, that allows, that softens, that loosens everything, that listens. And then the masculine is the action that comes in to do the thing when it's soft. I mean, if you want to get, TMI here, If you just look at the male and female body, what am I saying? Biologically, the woman has the womb and the man has the penis to enter. Like, that is as basic as it gets. And remember always, like, that's a metaphor, but remember always, I'm talking about masculine and feminine energy. I'm not talking about masculine and feminine. I'm not talking about male, female. So this can go with same-sex relationships, does not matter. This is about energy. We all have masculine, feminine within us, and it's about the weaving together of those two energies up our spine, and that's what strengthens the column of light going up our spine. So anyways, long message today, but there is a lot of energy, and I feel almost in some ways like it's going to take me all year to even talk about and break apart the energy that's happening this year. It's out of control, and it's so beautiful. It's such a wonderful time to be alive. Like, I just marvel at the fact that any of us could even line up choosing to be here at this time to midwife this energy and this new earth into place. So I wish you well, and keep breathing, keep meditating, keep coming back to that center, so that you and the rest of us don't lose our minds. All right, love you. Namaste.